Hey, everybody. Welcome to ICC's Banter Blitz. I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin. This is our little monthly get together. Um, and I will be taking on all comers in Blitz, 3 minute, 2 second increment. And, this will be our little get together for the month of April. As always, I will have a little theme to my games because I like to try to make things interesting and not just beat everybody over the head with a lot of Grandmaster opening theory. Um, as always, I'm a little bit stronger as I go on, so try to get me early. All right, we're getting started already. Um, I'm going to say Zianula. It starts with an X. Zianula is my first opponent. And here we go. Well, he seems to be a systems guy, D4, bishop f4, knight f3, kind of like Jobava. Let's see, this pin should hold up so I can get e5 in. And it's got to be a little careful here. He's playing quickly, but you might want to stop and think about. Yeah, bishop g5. If he went the other way, then e4 might win something. And I'll just do. Maybe should I play h6? Yeah, I'm going to play h6. Because if he doesn't take the knight, then he has to worry about, am I going to play e4? So he takes it. And then I take with the queen, and I've got some ideas I might even castle queenside. What I like about that is I was just a tiny bit concerned that white was going to play this move, bishop b5. But what I didn't like about it is that it might mess up my pawn structure. But now I have this idea that I'm just going to, am I going to do this? Yeah, I'm just going to castle queenside and try to use, a quick development. D file is open, so let me get a rook on it real quick. And maybe e4 is a threat now. Queen e2. All right, so he gets his queen out of the way, but maybe e4 it could be a good move anyway. It's a playable move, it seems. Is it worth it? He takes. I can take. He can get castled. Rook takes d2. That's a funny move. Three. Calculating, but this is quite an interesting position. All right, e4 or rook d2. Got to make a decision. This is why I say get me early, right? All right, let's try it. It's a little crazy. Yeah, queen takes looked forced. So at least he can't castle for the moment, but I'm honestly not really sure that it's going to help me that much. Maybe it's not going to help me at all, but actually I didn't consider that, because now if I take with the queen, he can castle, which I didn't really want. I didn't really want that, but yeah, I can't stop him castling anyway. All right. And I used up all my time. See, the first game is the hardest. That's for sure. All right. All right. So now I've used up all my time and I just got to play super fast. Great. All right. Sometimes I get hypnotized. But that's the fun of Banter Blitz. If this was just a regular Blitz session, I'd just play a lot of quick moves and, play according to the clock, but it wouldn't be all that interesting. All right, so now I have to try to use my kingside majority, I suppose. And not so fast. All right, let's get everything rolling here. Let's roll. All right, now we get an F file. I actually wouldn't mind my position that much if I hadn't taken so much time. That's really the worst part. My position is not necessarily that bad. And now let's see, can I try to get initiative going? Is there some kind of lag here? I don't see the clock running. What happened? What happened to the game? I disconnected from the ICC. Okay, so I got to reconnect. How did that happen? Okay, but then is the game going to be lost? I got to reconnect though, right? So all right, we can restart the game, right? Do I have to 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 accept this? Is that how I get started again? Yeah, so I just accept that. Okay. Okay. All right, so now oh, suddenly, okay. He's playing for a draw with his extra exchange. Well, actually, I maybe have enough compensation anyway. If I don't suddenly get mated or something. Probably actually have a good position. My king can hide on the queen side, I think, if necessary. Can I come up if he checks me? Let's try it. I can always take this pawn on c4 and then use my bishop to hide. Well, let's see what he does. I probably have not played this in the best way. Well, I definitely have not played this in the best way. But I still have my kingside guys. Uh, and I've just about evened up the clock. And I've got some threats. Okay. I won a rook. Whew. That was a tight game. Yeah, my position was probably okay in that end game with down exchange, but having an extra pawn. But I'd used up so much time mulling about that, that exchange sacrifice or what to do, and got to wake up a little bit. Okay, so Vuv, however it's said. He says I'm his favorite GM. Aw. Um, he's up next. So we're transposing into a Pierce. Or maybe it's going to be a Petrov's. The old unnecessary H6. You see this a lot for lower rated players, just stopping something from going to G5 that's not really going to G5. And sometimes it can be a critical waste of a tempo. And here I'm going to try to exploit it because maybe I can ram that E pawn. There's no reason why black couldn't play E5 and then play H6 later if necessary. Yeah, so boom, I'm going for it. And I think that's going to tickle a little bit. Black has to take it, otherwise I think he's going to lose. I did say he has to take it. Oh, I'm afraid that Vuv is not getting his money's worth in this game. But yeah, moves like H6 can do it. So Vuv asked me, could I beat Capablanca? I don't know if I caught him in an opening trap, certainly. I don't know. Who can answer those questions? Okay, Virtuoso is up next. Thanks for the game, Vuvi. So knight c3, the thing about knight c3, it very often ends up transposing into something kind of more normal. g5, so soon. I don't know, d4. I'm just throwing it out there because my opponent's moved a lot of pawns, so I'll be aggressive. And now I'll offer queen trade because I'm like that sometimes. I've got centralized knights. Okay, let's double that up. I thought it'd be easier for black to play knight d7 first and then knight f6. Now he's going to play with some weaknesses. I could go for more weaknesses, but I think I won't be in such a hurry to simplify everything and maybe just try to work on quick development. Maybe try to use a d file. Yeah, it's not so easy for black to resolve that. If he takes on d4, I take with the bishop. I'm going to be hitting f6 and b7 at the same time. Mm-hmm. So now maybe doubling. Double my pleasure. Knight b3 is also an idea here. Yeah, maybe knight b3 is even stronger, threatening to come to c5 and kind of also freezing the bishop. Yeah, that definitely was more to the point. So I forgot my bishop is now kind of in the way. So I'll get it out of the way. Maybe try to come to d7. So if he ever brings his king out of the center, then he doesn't have d7 guarded anymore. But I think eventually he's going to have to do that. So I think. So he's got to figure out how best to safeguard everything. At least this game, this game ahead on the clock, not like that first one. I got caught daydreaming a little bit. It's busy week, very tired. Kids off from school. Okay, so he goes for immediate castling. All right, so I drop in for a visit, and maybe it's going to win a pawn. Maybe. How's he going to not lose a pawn? That he maybe could have tried b5 first, just so that pawn isn't loose. And then I was going to play rook d1, and if he played b4, I was going to take the pawn on b4, and then I have a check on d8 if he takes my bishop, and I win the rook and all that. But still, b5 might have been a good start, just to not lose that pawn. Bishop e3 check. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to, what am I going to do? I'm just going to defend this pawn, I think. Just going to defend that pawn. Maybe it was better to take one of the pawns instead. But now I leave him thinking about which pawn to defend, which is sometimes harder. When you're given a choice, may not be objectively the right move. So b7 f6 still has two pawns under attack. b5. Okay, so now I grab this guy, and now he's got to be a little careful about his back rank. Back rank a little weak. Okay, so he defended that. Okay, so I'll defend that. And maybe I'll throw some things on the 7th rank here. And Virtuoso is running out of time too. Oops! I did not see that move at all, that he could simply attack my pawn. Well, he's very short of time, so I'm just going to put a little cheapo move. Yeah. He saw that coming, though. All right. I got another one like that. Check. Minus check. And now the bishop hangs. Yeah, I don't. Not much you could do about that. And if he didn't take the pawn, then I was going to be able to defend c3. Thank you. You're very welcome, Virtuoso. That was a little tricky at the end. I just did not see that little attack coming on c3 pawn. Okay, Manas. Manas is up next. Bishop f4 again. Well, that's just the thing these days, I guess. People like Jobava and Kamsky and Kramnik, I guess they made it cool to play bishop f4. This seems like a repeat. But this time I'm not going to take 2 minutes in the opening like I did in the first game. I promise. Whatever I do, I promise that. Oh, this time I see something that I didn't notice the first game. Bishop g5, maybe I'll just play e4. Because I thought of that idea later. But what if I just do it right away? Yeah, let's try that. See if I can perfect this, if I get this position enough times. I was thinking about this idea with the white bishop already on b5. And there, white was closer to castling. So I have a little bit different idea. I think I'm anticipating starting the bishop f6. Can't take knight takes e4 because I trade queens, and then I take the knight. Okay, h3, this is also possible. Okay, I'll just play bishop h5. Maybe that helps. It helps white to get that in. Okay, all right. Now what? All right. All right, well, now my pawn is defended. So we're not going to see his attack to the bishop f6, queen f6, knight e4, queen b2. But maybe that was good for me because the bishop b4 check would loom, and I think that would be useful. All right, this time I'm going to try to play faster. Okay, let's take. So it's trying to get on that pawn. I did not anticipate it. I'm just not having any luck with this. I'm trying to do too much. Yeah, I did not anticipate that move. And yep. All right. So it looks like I'm going to lose that pawn. Oh well. Let's see. Well, I'm going to take it with the pawn. Because if I take with the bishop and he takes with the knight, I might end up just trading that. All right, so I gave a pawn. But white still has to get castled. Just not completely trivial. don't know if he needs to defend the pawn on b2. I'm not sure I'm threatening to take it because my b7 pawn is also vulnerable. So what should he do? Maybe he should just play queen e2. I mean, he doesn't really want to play a move like rook b1 because then he can't castle queenside. That option is gone. That's what he does, but I think he's not happy that he's not going to be able to castle. So while the knight is on d2, this move is legal. I get that in. So I'm kind of happy about that. Bishop d3, so he blocks the d file. And of course, I have another exchange sacrifice, which I am a little bit compulsive about these things. So I'm down. All right. Should I do it? Yeah, okay. Another exchange sacrifice. I can't help myself. I'm compulsive. Which way should I go? Yeah, I'll go to the middle. Okay. I'll just take it. And I'll take it again. And this is interesting. Or should I check first? No, check first. Check first. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. That's a very rare kind of fork. Queens hitting rooks on both sides. If I didn't check, then he would be able to. Oh my goodness! My queen isn't trapped? I thought my queen was trapped for a second, which would be an oops. But king g2, I have queen a2, so I'd be piece of. Oh, that's a little bit of a quick resignation, but all right. That was a tough game on us, and that time I at least played quicker, but I keep trying to kill that opening somehow, and maybe it's not working for me. All right, mastermind. Seems like getting slightly higher rated competition than usual so far in the early games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm just kind of making things up here as I go along. Mm-hmm. I play for check. Better not move my d pawn before I castle. All right, I guess I better castle here if I know it's good for me. Well, he was trying to trap my bishop. E5 looks like a pretty good move. So my bishop's going to be a little out of play. Not the most genius opening of all time. And now is my queen in trouble? Well, well, that's an excellent move. All right, I got to run away. So, not a great start for me. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So I have, so my opponent has earned the 2 bishops out of the opening, but in compensation for that, I also have less space. All right, let's try to work something here. B5, yeah. Well, otherwise I could put something on B6, but now maybe this move is a little bothersome, tagging the bishop and the pawn on C6. So I get to take that bishop, then I can get one of those positions where I technically have that pawn structure edge, because I'll have a clean majority on the queen side against a doubled majority on the king side. I'll just take that. All right, well, let's see, pawns on light squares. Maybe I don't want to get everything fixed on dark squares, so all right, I'll try A4. Ah, okay. Well, I like that. I like that a lot for me. Yeah, I think he needed to keep that more fluid, because now, well, I guess he's hoping that it's a majority and that my pawns might be blocked, but still, yes. Do I play B3 where everything's defended, or I think I'm actually better off playing C3. I can afford to put that pawn on a dark square, I think, because now I think well, I don't know if it would be a problem for me, things coming into on the B file. Well, that move I did not see at all. I admit. What does it mean? What does it mean? Yeah, that's a good move. All right, take it. I'll just defend it for now. Yeah, it's a very tight end game, and both sides are going to be playing it with not a lot of time on the clock. So it's going to get interesting. All right, so we'll pick up the pace. This is a timed game, and the B file is open. So I'm looking to grab that B file because he can't break me down over there. Now what? I'm not sure if this is leading to anything, but sometimes when you just maneuver like this, it looks like you're going somewhere. Okay, now check. Now can I improve my king? Ah. Oops. Now I'm trying to go forward. All right, now I should have it under control. Took a while. Thank you, Mastermind. Yeah, once I stabilized that queen side with the rook on the b file, then I think it was just a matter of time. But yeah, it was tight. It's good game, Mastermind. I think b4 really, that was when I started to get an advantage, but it was not a great opening for me. But that's the idea. I'm not trying to get a good opening. That wouldn't be very sporting. All right. Sachin 007. All right. So I'm in for. No, come on. Bishop f4. Really? Everybody plays bishop f4 and move 2? It can't be. They're just copying each other? Or? Oh, but he does something different. Okay. Let's see what this leads to. Knight d2. All right. Everybody gets their pieces out. Knight d2 actually probably is a good move. Because sometimes you don't necessarily want to put your knight on c3 because you want to be able to cover that d4 square with the pawn. Seems prudent. I like that he has to keep that e4 pawn defended. That if he moves the knight from d2, then it becomes loose. So if he wants to move the knight, he has to cover it with something. That helps me a little bit. All right, so he didn't want to get that bishop boxed in. Yeah, I don't think I should. I don't think it's any benefit to take with the pawns. I take with the king. So now I have 2 bishops. Of course, he can take my bishop, and then I don't have 2 bishops, so I lose that advantage right away. All right, let me just randomly throw up a5. I don't know if there's any benefit to it, but it's a blitz game, so I'm going to make him think about how he wants to deal with that pawn coming in. All right, he takes right away. Knight c4. Okay. So I get that pawn off at dark square. Yeah, I was more concerned that he would play a4 before jumping in with the knight. So now I got the pawns placed a little bit more advantageously. When you have a bishop, you want your pawns on the opposite color. You don't want to try to defend them all with your bishop. You want your bishop to be unhindered. So what's the plan now? Should I even just give up my bishop? Maybe I'll just give my bishop. It's easier to play with knights and blitz anyway. He's thinking about pawn takes to guard d4, but okay, I'm sure I'd be happy with that. So I have some ideas to come. Ooh, wow. Really? You want to put your king in the middle of all this? I don't know about that. All right. He might think better of that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Check. Yeah, I think king. Yeah, but he just lost. He just lost 2 tempi with that. He could have played knight d2 right away. And now let's see. We just go. Yeah, just hit this. Yeah, now already the position's lost. Well, maybe it's not lost, but it's a real problem. Now it's lost. Boom. Endgame prowess. King d3, yeah, that was walking onto open file like that with all the rooks on the board. Not the best. It keeps going. All right, take. Check. Might as well play a5, no? Okay. Comes out the same, more or less. Now I'm going to be greedy and hold on to everything because I can. Interesting. All right. Check. Liquidation. All right. Thank you, Sachin 007. Do 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 do. Bishop f4. Everybody. Have all the games been d4 and bishop f4 so far? Chamanks. Somehow when I play these weird openings, they always seem to end up being stronger with black than with white, you know? Oh, I did have that Pierce that I was able to win quickly before. All right. I'm just not going to mess around here. Go right for queenside castling. All right. All right. Let's see what happens. Because I've got something worked up on the D file there. Let's see if this is any good. This might be a problem, bishop e6, because the knight on d7 can't really move. Mm-hmm. Well, if I play pawn takes, there's some chance that I might actually just, like win a piece. Or at least an exchange. So I'm going to do that, although queen takes is kind of more free-flowing. So what's he going to do against him? Bishop e6. Or knight g5, or anything for that matter. Rook f6, and then rook d6. We'll see. I'm not sure he'd worked that part out yet. Ooh. All right, I'll take it with the queen. Probably take it with the pawn. This wins material, but well, I think this is going to win material too. 95. It's kind of hard to deal with. Also could have taken on d7 first. Would be no defense either way. Hold on. Do I have a mate? Knight g6. Knight f7. This is mate, actually. I don't even have to take the queen. Oh, I think did he resign? All right, well, I wasn't going to take he said, oh, he didn't take my queen. Well, queen h8 is going to be mate next to. All right, thanks, Jamanx. Perfectly reasonable opening for black, but then e5, that's just a kind of tricky timing because I get an e6, and because I've got the queen and rook lined up, I have the pin on the knight that creates so the knight is not able to move. So he had to do something a little different. He could have played knight g4 without taking on e5, and that would have been okay, I suppose. So not everybody in this world is playing bishop f4. Not Dan 910712 Tango Niner Bravo. So now we have some kind of tango. So he's throwing that h-pawn up to bother my knight. I'm not really a big fan of playing h5 against that because then white has the g5 square, and it becomes difficult for black to do a lot of things he likes to do in this opening, like play for f5. So the pawn's going to get to h5, the pawn's going to get to h5. Mm-hmm. Now this opening, you'll have to make sure you don't play d6 when your bishop is hanging on b4 because queen a4 check. I'm going to take the knight then. Occurs to me maybe I should have played bishop c5 last move. There's always the question for black, which one to play. Stop those pawns. An argument for taking the knight without being attacked is that if you wait for knight e2, then you could end up. You know what? I probably should have gone to f8, and then I would come out to Then I would come out to c5. All right, I wasn't thinking. b6, d6. Yeah, because that knight come. Well, then I could come out over with the other knight, but it's nicer to have knights on c5 and f6 because then you keep e4 under observation. Now it's also harder for me to defend the d6 pawn. E2. Can I? Can I? Yeah, I'd love to play knight f8 to d7 right now. Bishop g4. Queen check. I could just castle. I could just castle. I'm not going to castle the other way. I don't think he's really going to attack my king side or castle queen side or anything like that. All right. So that defends b7, freezes the knight. Queen b3. All right, now I'm going to come around to c5. He could take me with his bishop, but okay, I'm happy to get rid of the dark squared bishop, a very important piece in this position. And now I can think about playing for f5. Just retreat. Still, it'd be ideal for me if I had my knight somewhere where it's headed to c5. But all right, so then I'll have to go in a different direction. Of course, the problem for white is that by throwing that pawn up to h5, then he doesn't really want to castle. But king on d2 is not in the safest of positions. All right, getting ready to start blasting. Okay, here we go. Now, could probably play a lot of waiting moves here because white can't really do all that much. So I'm going to get my king off the diagonal. And what should I do? Should I try to move that knight around or? Maybe just come in. Oh, that. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Maybe that wasn't genius. All right. I think that was haste. G4 there was hasty, caused by lack of time. Knight F3 is happening. Knight F3 is happening. And it's all happening at the zoo. Well, this should lead to something. Is that a... Oh, well, now it's definitely leading to something. I figure if I just keep piling pieces in there, there's got to be a threat at some point. Arg. Ah, there's one. Yeah, hard to play with 5 seconds left. Okay, Dan 910712. Very tough game. Very tough game. Getting a lot of new players today. U.S. Shackman. I don't know if those are initials or he's from the United States. Or it's USS Hackman. Yes, is it Hackman or Shackman? No one knows. Bishop C5. What do I know about this move? Let me see where that bishop is going. Of course, it's very much like a Scotch, but tiny bit different. Well, I got my bishops, but, can I hold on to them is another question. Mm-hmm. Castles. I don't know if such aggression is justified in this position, but maybe I'll start throwing the kingside pawns forward. That's the kind of thing that always looks kind of fearsome to a lot of players, whether it's really doing that much or not. Queen d7. Okay, well, I have knight c5 in my pocket with tempo, but I don't think I'm going to use it yet. Oh, I could have taken the knight, opened up the king side. All right, so he stopped that. All right, so he stopped knight c5. I don't know. I'll just see what he does about that, because maybe I'll get something more. All right, d4 is d4 threatened. I don't think so. So I'm just gonna act like it isn't. No, he doesn't. All right. Probably should. Even though he doesn't have enough pieces on it, but he can open up some possibilities. But what you got? What's your follow-up? Okay. It's taking some liberties, not playing with the bishop on f1, but this looks like a use move to get in because he plays g6 and my bishop can park on g7, which could be annoying for him. Okay, well, now we have a discussion going on the king side, which I like. My bishop is a little short of squares. Yeah, I was thinking I wasn't going to play this move, but the more I looked at it, I just thought I want to move that. I want to move that knight. Okay. Well, now, actually, that's a little ominous. Some, threats developing a little bit around, a knight check, trying to pick up my queen. But I think for now I have everything covered. Oh, that's definitely not going to work. I'm not even sure what the idea was. What was he? He's trying to set up some knight check. Okay. All right. I'm just going to put my king to the side. That definitely is going to take care of any issues over there. Let's just come through the middle. Check. That's going to smart a little bit. The bishop pair. My light square bishop made a very late triumphant entrance into the game. All right, thank you, U.S. Shackman or USS Hackman. Yeah, tough game. It's cold today. It's been generally warm weather, but today is a little colder. Started out in the 40s. It's only going to get into the... This is Ears. Ears is always trying to out-weird me every time. So he knows I'm playing my knight, so he's putting in his knight. He's got a good sense of humor, this guy. Oh, Canada. I don't know what part of Canada he's from, but right now my beloved Rangers are taking on the Montreal Canadiens, and they're a very big Rangers fan. The series is 2-2. It's very exciting. But otherwise, I'm a fan of Canada. I like it there. I've never actually been to Montreal. Been to Toronto many times. Been to Edmonton. Been to Winnipeg. I've never been to Vancouver. I'd love to go to Vancouver and Montreal on the bucket list. Okay, what is Ears up to? He's getting all hyper modern and stuff, but not bad. Not bad at all. I don't know. I'm just going to make some moves. Sometimes if you're not sure what direction your opponent's going on in a blitz game, just make some moves and let him show you. Okay, well I gotta take that. I think that helps me a little bit. A little bit. Rook f2 or bishop g2. Might have to decide which is more annoying, trading off the bishop or the bishop sitting there on h3 in your face. These are things everybody has to decide for themselves. Bishop g2, all right. E takes without hesitation. I wasn't really sure how he was going to take. I thought I'd give him something to think about. The Russian schoolboys like to capture towards the center. I guess more often than not you capture towards the center. I think in this case at 9 and d4 is going to be a little bit annoying. Yeah, I don't think that's going to stay there. Tempted to set up some exchange sacrifices. Well, I think that's a healthy move anyway. Take, king f2. Yeah, maybe next move is just f5. Simple and good. Maybe not as good as I thought. Well, good, but yeah, but not as good as I thought. Yeah, rook c1 or queen check and rook c1. Now I'm going to win something. Check. I'll take this way. Yeah, but I think the problem is no, rook e2 is not necessarily winning anything, but it's pretty good. It's going to win another pawn. Oh, now it's going to win a bishop. I thought he could play rook f2, defend everything, because the king was defending the bishop. Yeah. All right, thanks, ears, who did play weirder than I did in the opening. Good job. All right. So far, so good. Oof, that's and goof. All right, J. Russell 2, another frequent opponent. All right, so J. Russell 2, going for the center. Bishop e7. Hmm. Thinking about taking some liberties here. Thinking about taking some liberties. Actually, maybe this is just not. It's just not easy to defend. Can I just take this pawn on f7? I use knight d5. It looks all like a fried liver. I'm going to do it. Delayed fried liver. All right, let's go for it. Fried liver. Can this work? It's a very unusual kind of fried liver. Yeah, okay. Ah, well, he doesn't play king e6, so his only move to defend the knight. This is just a little aside. In the fried liver, which of course is, maybe the most popular opening among children, and I've seen fried liver over and over again. I've taught it in class. I've been with a lot of school programs where it was taught, and the lesson is always don't play it for black. But a lot of kids forget that. They just sort of remember they learned it in class, and they think that since they saw something in class, that means they're supposed to do it. So they end up playing it for black, and it works out very poorly. But of course, in the main line of the fried liver, black is playing king e6 to defend the knight on d5. But I have to say that in all the kids' games that I've seen over the years, I've never seen any kid play king e6. They always move the king away and they end up a pawn down for nothing. So nobody's really going into the fried liver with some plan as to what they're doing there. They just end up in it kind of by accident. So with this very unusual kind of fried liver, I'm oh, can I grab another pawn? It's very greedy, isn't it? Let's do it. It's very greedy. Very, very greedy. Ah. Maybe it was simpler to play f4. Simpler to play f4. Bishop g8. Okay, I'll trade. I think I'm winning more stuff. There we go. Pleasure and honor. Okay, great. I always like satisfied customers, especially when customers are satisfied when they lose. That's always a good thing from my point of view. All right. So far, we're chugging along. Things are going well. My knights are dancing. Yeah, but if black played king e6, that would have been an interesting position. I'd sacrifice a little bit of material, but I got to believe that white has to have some chances there with the king running around the e6. But I'm not sure what it will mean. Okay, Noctua, and this is a new opponent for me. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen that name before. And so now we get e4 opening. I used to play the Nimzovich defense back in the day. Okay, we end up into a tango. I've had some good experience, bad experience. Played in the U.S. Championship, and some wins, some big wins, some big losses. But it's been a long, long time since I played it. I don't think it's such a great idea to double those pawns for white, but of course, you've got to take advantage of it. All right, so which way are you going to castle? Can go one way or the other. I think that's what he's thinking about. Okay. Yeah, kind of on second thought, I'm not sure that that was such a good square for the queen to go to a5. So they really sort of want to bring the knight around. Yeah, I think somewhere around here I have to start doing something on the queen side. A3. But that's it isn't defended, so he can't really play. I guess he can play b4. Takes. Yeah, didn't really want my queen out there anyway. All right, well, he's massing for something. Okay, now let's get to it. Knight on f5 is a good start. I will grant that. That is a good start. And soon he'll threaten something, I suppose. Because I'm not really threatening anything myself yet. Maybe I'll just trade off that knight. 97, yeah. I think that'd be a good idea to trade that guy. Should be one. Maybe knock that rook off the file. I think that'd be useful. His queen is getting a little bit low on squares. I think he only has one square. He hasn't found it yet. I gotta go to D1. Am I missing something? Yeah, there we go. I gained a lot of time there. Bishop D3. Okay, well, I think I'm more or less happy to trade that. All right. I'll just overprotect F7 just in case he's up to something. Ah, finally. I was wondering when that was going to come. I really am very low on the clock. Very uncomfortably so, now that I look at it more carefully. Knight D2. This is a little uncomfortable. Well, took a long time on that move. Not sure why he played B4. I think this stuff is all kind of helping me, but I don't see any mate down there. Where is he? Oh, he's going there. Oh! Uh-oh. Well, he doesn't have rook F8 check, fortunately. That was a bit of a stunner, I have to admit. Let me get rid of that pawn just to make sure. Okay, now I got plenty of time. There we go. Ooh, that was a little bit of a scare. I was ready to step up in the pie with King H7. It turned out it wasn't really a mate threat because he couldn't get his rook to the 8th rank, but for a moment I was like, what? All right, good try, Noctua. Now we've got bishop mate. All right, this one again. Has J. Russell 2 played today? Get very primitive here. Queen F3. Yeah, getting back to basics. Got to appreciate that diagonal to F7. hitting the hitting the tickle pawn with ruthless efficiency. Checkers. Checkers. How about you gotta go C5? Pawn C5. No, I mean, come on. Don't give up so easily, bishop mate. Don't give up so easily. Yeah. Well, you got to respect F7. Yeah. So there's, I guess, a drop of poison in this opening. Black playing the early E5. Probably not the wisest way to play because you have to be very, very careful about F7. But all right, who we got? Ramez Samir. It's an interesting flag. I do not know what that is, but okay. 3. So this turns into a form of the Pierce. He doesn't want to let me play B5. Understandable. So this is a very flexible setup for black. So he challenges me with E5. Is this pawn a strength or a weakness? We shall see. Knight D5, also possible. Don't know which is better. It's nice not to be annoyed by things coming to G5, so I'll play that. All right, so he's trying to do something to D-file, and okay, so I bring the F rook to D8. I think best to do that. And maybe I'll just take those rooks off the board, offer some trades. First things first. He has trouble increasing his pieces, getting the knight to E4. Even if the knight gets to E4, it doesn't necessarily have any place to go because D6 isn't weak, F6 is protected. The bishops on the long diagonals cover the squares in the center pretty well. So what can I do? Knight A5 and taking the knight on F3. I think my thought would be just to play knight C5 and start trading things. This type of position, white can run out of ideas quite easily. because he's almost kind of maxed. Because just wanted to throw the H pawn forward. Bishop D3. Take. But now maybe, well, say offer traded queens, but my knight becomes temporarily hanging. So I think I'm just going to play knight C5, just simple. Knight B4 is also possible. Could trade stuff. Oh. Wow. That was a move I was not at all thinking about. Take. I think I have this pretty well covered, though. All right, take that. I can also play F6. Is there any reason I can't play F6? I think I mean, G6 he's not really on it. Bishop G6. Okay. I think I just had everything pretty well covered. That was a little bit of a shock there. Knight G5. Now, definitely looking for trades. Ah. Start with that one then. This is in case you had any idea about Queen C7. Wow. I did not get out of the way of Queen C7. Huh. That was a bad move on my part. I freely admit it. Now we have a game. All right. Now I'm going to have to blitz him out. Hiya. Ah, that was sad. I should have taken the bishop. It should be a good position for white, but it's going to move very fast, and it's not so easy to play. But we'll see if he can manage. I'm going to try to take lots of pawns. And play very, very fast. Oh! Nice move. Wow. How did he see that move? A little hard to believe. Oh. Nice save. Wow. Okay. I was even thinking about Bishop G6, but I thought I'd covered it, and I forgot about Queen C7 again. And but that, wow, F5 and Rook C5. That was pretty clever. All right, so no clean sweep. All right, Lieben's pawn. Yeah. So another tango. All right, so this is the last one of the day. Oops. Uh-oh. Had a little lag there. Where's my mouse? Did I disconnect again? Hmm. Okay. I lost my mouse there for a minute. That was strange. Okay, so in this opening, sometimes the bishop goes to c5, sometimes it goes to b4. You have to allow one of them. So bishop e3, then I go to b4 and take the knight. But against bishop d3, it's probably best to hold on to the bishop. I've won some games very quickly against opponents who castled castled very quickly and ran into problems. All right, so he brings the knight around. So I'm going to go for kingside stuff. Well, bishop e3, well, like I said, it's not really very good to double those pawns, although my knight on h5 is kind of misplaced now. Excuse me. It's my knight on g6. Maybe I can try something a little different. All right. Figure it out. No. You can't weaken the dark squares like that. Lieben's pawn. That's I don't want to play a4. You don't have to block my pawn. You need the pawn on a3 later to play b4. You don't put all your pawns on light squares when you have the light square bishop. Okay. Yeah, the pawn on a4 is going to help me a lot. Uh-huh. What are you going to do about that? I'm getting ready to take something. Grab, grab, grab. Well, I think I'd try to save the other one, even though it's a double pawn. Well, okay. I'll trade. But certainly now there's really no plan for counterplay. neither capture is really ideal. C takes, I play in the queen side. E takes, and I have pawns rolling through because that E pawn has disappeared. Roll 'em, roll 'em, roll 'em. Get those doggies rolling, rawhide. Knight c3, yeah. Well, okay, don't want the knight on b5, so I guess I'm going to have to grab that if it comes in. I can still defend my kingside pawns. Should be not a problem. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Shoe. Will you come in? Should come in 96, I think. Worth it. Trade D pawn for the F pawn. I'm going to jump in. G3, you get forked. Okay. Get rid of that. Mm-hmm. Maybe just bring some guys over to the king side. It's still knight h3. I was just waiting for that. I admit it. I was just waiting for that. Thank you, Liebman's pawn. Well, I guess that was the last one. And so one draw, lots of wins with my dancing knights, knight c3 and knight c6. So not a bad day. Not a bad day. Well, and thank you, Liebman's pawn. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Thanks for challenging me. If you didn't get to play, too bad, sorry, but maybe next month. There's always the next month. That does it for April, but May, there'll be more banter. It's always a pleasure. I don't get to play very much these days. I spend my time analyzing, doing videos and teaching and stuff, but it's good to get the juices flowing every now and then. So I appreciate everybody taking me on and giving me problems to work out. So thank you, everybody, and I'll be seeing you all again in May. I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin, and this has been ICC's Banter Blitz.